What's going on, guys? I'm Enrique Pinheiro, and welcome back to the Hawk Show Talk Show, a Seattle Seahawks podcast. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. In today's episode, I'm going to be interviewing Seahawks Kingdom, the ever so popular Instagram account. And also, I'd like to quickly note change of scenery or lack of scenery. I haven't been able to be in my studio lately. That's why we're doing this one audio only. But still, it's going to be great, and we got a great guest here. Thank you so much for being on here, Kingdom.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're gonna do some general interview questions and then dive into the draft because today's Wednesday, it starts on Thursday, sorry, and it's gonna be exciting even if we only have 3 picks right now. Anyways, so Kingdom, I know you live on the East Coast. How'd you get into the Seahawks? How'd you become a Seahawks fan?
Well, I have a lot of family in the Washington area, first off, but my earliest memory of just football in general is I remember when I was like maybe 7. I was watching one of the I remember one of the Seahawks games being on TV, and ever since then I've just kind of been with them, I guess, and I've love the fan base, and I'm I'm happy with my choice, I guess.
Awesome, I love it. I think there's always that first time you see football. I remember even though I live in the Seattle area, I watched I think it was a Vikings game, and I really liked them for a week until then I started following the Seahawks just because it was the first game I watched.
Yeah.
And then your Instagram account, super popular, super great. What do you think makes your account so great? Because people love you. I think you're the number 1 followers. Maybe at Seattle Seahawks has more, but still, if you ask people, everybody loves you. What do you think makes you so great?
Thanks. First off, I appreciate it. Well, I think I put a lot of work into it. I'm on the account most of my day whenever I get time. I try to answer as many DMs as I can. I'm active. I'm always posting on my story. And I love the Seahawks, and I'm relatively knowledgeable about them, which helps. And I just put my best foot forward and try to make the best account I can.
Yes, and you mentioned the story updates. I love them. That's probably what really put me forward to be so knowledgeable in the Seahawks. Where I guess I can have this show about it because I was always a Seahawks fan. But your story updates, the tweets, or just even if it's your opinion, especially with press conference stuff. Because honestly, I don't watch all the press conferences. It helps a ton. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. And that's probably why you're so informative, and also you're really quick with news too.
Thank you. I try my best.
And you do the best. With the Seahawks, it's kind of a generic question. Who's your favorite Seahawk currently, and then who's your favorite Seahawk all time?
Well, my favorite Seahawk currently is the same as my all time, Russell Wilson. I mean, he's just done so much for the team, and it's just so fun to watch. But if I had to be a little different, well, Russell will definitely just be my favorite all time. But Cam comes pretty close. I love Bam Bam Cam. I'm really sad he had to retire due to the neck injury, but always a hard hitter, and he was just so fun to watch. And he never really, I mean, a lot of the LOB kind of had some form of bad blood in their ending in Seattle, and Cam was always just respectful and loved the team and the area and stuff. And then as for now, other than Russ, probably DK or Jamal are my favorites just because they're young and exciting, and I think they're probably our best players of the future that can really be long-term pieces for us that have the ability to obviously Jamal and DK were all pro players last year, and they could continue that for a very long time.
Yeah, DK is definitely my current favorite. It's him or Cam for all time for me too. I was watching the Panthers divisional, the one we won.
Oh yeah.
I 2 nights ago, I believe. And even though Cam played, it was the best game of his career. He had the pick 6. That's the game where he jumped over the for the field goal blocks, and especially a great game. And even though I'm watching that, I'm not literally tearing up, but I'm getting emotional because even though it's amazing to watch, it's just so sad because I feel you're right. First off, Earl, I still miss Earl, but I don't really care anymore. He's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to him. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
And now it's like his Instagram feed, he always seems like kind of confused and he's not into football that much. I don't know. And then Sherman, I really still want Sherman back, still a free agent.
Yeah.
Like it's just annoying that he left. Cam never did anything like that. And I feel like we were robbed, but luckily he got a ring, which makes me happy.
Yeah. That I gotta say, like maybe one of the saddest days of my life. I remember like March 12th, 2017. Sherman, we cut Sherman, we traded Bennett. And I was like, that was the day I was like, wow, this is really happening. And yeah, I mean, I still get really sad whenever I think about the LOB. And I mean, I feel like Sherman is super interesting because I feel like it's kind of like you hate him and then you love him, and then he signs with the Niners, you hate him, but then after like a year you kind of get over it. And I feel like most Seahawks fans feel the same way, where like you love him and then you hate him, and you can't help but love him.
I know, and Sherman was such like I remember when I was picking out jerseys, because my birthday is February 5th, so 2-5, and I picked Sherman on my birthday to get the jersey. I was like, oh, I got to get a player who I know won't leave. So I got Sherman. And then even though we cut him, still it was his decision to kind of leave because we wanted the pay cut, which I kind of expected did not work out. And yeah, that offseason was a train wreck. Because we missed the playoffs, then we lose Sherman, Cam, Cliff Averill, Michael Bennett, Jimmy Graham, Paul Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, dude, and then the next season was kind of fun. We made the play, lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was shocked that we did. I remember everyone had us going 4-12. I remember that. But actually, I remember my first Seahawks jersey was Richard Sherman. And it's like half my size now. But it's in the corner of my room, and it's just it's. I remember that I wanted to, I was so mad when he left, and you kind of want to throw it out, but you love the player too much, and I'm very glad I didn't, because it's nice whenever I look in the corner of my room and I'm reminded of the LOB days. But I think we're looking upward in the future for the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, and with our team, I think it's kind of underrated how young we are. Other than Bobby and Russ, I'd say, and KJ if he comes back, our team is very young. And I'm excited. Also, with Sherman, you're kind of saying it. I feel like he was just seen as way cooler on the Seahawks. Like he hasn't really been like talking shit and like as cool as he on the Niners as he was for us. So I think he miss him less. And also with LOB, it being sad, but at least we got a ring, because like you look at the Steelers, AB and Bell and Ben, and they didn't get a ring.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, keep going.
Well, there's a lot of teams that just had amazing players and just never got a ring, but that's not really anything else to add to that. You can go.
You said Russell is your favorite player, and I know you still addressed it, and like everyone's kind of freaking out, but like were you like deep down freaking out even more with the trade rumors? Because like I know at first it was like, oh, it's not gonna happen, but then you see Russell name 4 teams, and you're like, oh, I don't know, like what were you going through?
Yeah, actually, it's the same thing for me. Every off season, the drama comes up, and I remember I was pretty scared when he had to sign his when he set the April 5th, I think it was April 15th contract extension deadline, when he wanted that new contract a few years ago. That was pretty scary. But other than that, I felt like everything was just kind of drummed up by the media, get a story, off season bores and stuff like that. But and I felt the same way this year, until the report, Adam Schefter report came out that he listed the four teams and basically said, oh yeah, I love you guys, but these are 4 guys I would also be totally fine with being. But so that was definitely, there was definitely many weeks where I was kind of either leaning towards he's probably gonna get traded, or just just panicked about that. Although I'm glad it's kind of the second the Bears signed Andy Dalton, it kind of just faded away. And he's gonna I think John Schneider said in his press conference today, he kind of committed his towards the future. He said he's been here a long time. I think he'll be here a long time. And they never actually considered trading him, even though they did have conversations with other teams, but none of it was ever negotiatory and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw the update today, and that made me feel better. And with like the past and media, because I tend to blame Pete on most of it, because I think Pete's made a lot of questionable decisions. I don't really care about Super Bowl 49. Like, anymore, but I think Pete's been a little too high praised past couple seasons. So I usually blame him, and then Russell winning in the 4 teams. I questioned myself. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, feel the same way.
Uh, this is kind of a weird question. Are there any Seahawks, it can be current or like the past couple of seasons, that you think weren't big names but you loved? Like, for example, I used to love J.D. McKissick, or right now I love Marquise Blair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Marquise Blair was definitely one of them. I was a massive Marquise Blair believer. I wanted him to start over McDougal back in 2019. Um, and I thought it was the next big thing. Of course, traded for Jamal, so that's not really. I mean, man, we'll see what happens this year. Him, definitely. I feel like a lot of Seahawks fans hated Jimmy Graham because we spent so much on him, and obviously, if I could turn back that trade and keep Max Unger, I would. But I always loved Jimmy Graham. I thought he was an exciting player, and especially that 2017 season, where he had his best season as a Seahawk. That was a really fun season. I liked I liked Paul Richardson a lot too. I think P Rich was fun and exciting. And again, that 2017 season was a very good season for underrated players. And I think it's unfortunate. I think he's a free agent right now. Didn't play last year. But at least he got a big payday in Washington. But I was very happy when we re-signed him last year, and it's unfortunate it didn't work out. But yeah, P Rich and Jimmy Graham are definitely two guys that I always loved that I feel like didn't get enough appreciation.
Dude, you literally read my mind. I always tell people that 2017 season, that and the 2019 season are my favorite seasons. Actually, I don't know, probably the 2013, but of like recent memory. And
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham, I totally agree. I think he gets a lot of hate because I remember he dropped a lot of open passes. But I remember that 2017 season, especially at the goal line, we would just like throw it up and he'd always get it. He had like
Yeah.
10 touchdowns or whatever. And also, you were saying he like brought energy. I remember when him and when Cam would come out of the tunnel, it was like nothing else. Like Jimmy would just get
Yeah.
the place jumping, and now we don't have either of them. But it's okay. I thought Jimmy was gonna get cut this year because the Bears have Cole Kmet, and also like in that wild card game, he scored the touchdown, and then he just ran off the field without saying hi to anyone. So I thought he would get cut, and maybe we look at him, even though it's kind of a long shot. But I don't know. Yeah, I miss Jimmy Graham too.
Is he still with the Bears? I
Yeah,
haven't set up the on it. Is he? Wow.
yeah. I totally thought he was gonna get cut. I don't know how he's. I don't know, but yeah, he's on the Bears.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I remember I was pissed off because he signed with the Packers when he left us in free agency. And obviously, I mean, I think obviously I hate the 49ers, hate the Rams. Cardinals I never really hated them that much, but obviously I don't like them because they're a division rival. But
Yeah,
I feel like the Packers kind of count as a division rival because we play them so much. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers always gets the best of us, except for obviously 2015. It was a very good year for that. But I hate the Packers, so I was very upset with that.
I totally agree. I hate the Packers way more than I hate the Niners, and I think the reason for that is most of my Seahawks like experience, like while I've watched them, the Niners have been pretty bad, so they haven't
Yeah.
annoyed me as much. And even in 2019, those two crazy Niners games, even though we lost with like Jacob Hollister at the goal line and Drake Greenlaw or whatever, I still enjoy that game a ton. I love that game because Marshawn was in it.
Yeah. Oh
I hate the
man, I forgot
Packers
about that.
so much.
Yeah, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people love Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I mean, I obviously don't know him, but he comes off as cocky to me.
I don't like him either. I have a friend who's a Seahawks fan but loves Aaron Rodgers, but I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I don't even like him off the field. Really, there's some stuff I don't know. Uh, we can go through these real quick. What's just a they're gonna be kind of obvious answers. I feel like too. What's your favorite moment as a Seahawks fan, like watching in game like a play, and then least favorite?
Well, my favorite in-game play as a Seahawks fan. Well, in the 2015, I remember the game winner that sent us, to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we lost Super Bowl, but that play, was very special. Um,
Jermaine
and,
Curtis.
yeah, that was I remember just like jumping up and down, screaming. That was really fun. And what was the second question?
Least favorite moment, but I assume I know what it
Oh
is.
yeah. Whenever I see, the play, I still cringe really hard and I cry a little inside. Um that definitely. Um yeah. Another play that I mean, as for games, and this isn't really like our glory era, but when we lost that playoff game to the Cowboys in 2018, that kind of scarred me because Pete just kept. This isn't a play, but Pete just kept running the ball over and over and over in that game, and I felt like jumping off of a bridge. And I'm very glad things had changed last year a little bit, but we'll see what happens this year.
That game and also the Packers game, the Cowboys one traumatized me and made me have a forever hatred. I never forgave Shaquille Griffin after that Packers. I mean, after the Cowboys game. And then Trey Flowers, I forgave him a little more this year because he locked the B Hop in that Thursday night football game. But Trey Flowers had one of the worst quarterback games I've ever seen in that Packers game. But Shaquille, I think nobody talked about it. I don't even think Shaquille's that good. I was glad. I was very glad that he left. Actually, I'm really biased against him. But I think
Against him.
yeah, like I don't know. Actually, I think he's good, but I think he got extremely overpaid.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved Shaquille, and I defended him as much as I could this past year. I think actually one of the more underrated moves is the choice to not pay him so much money because that would have been because he was just incredibly inconsistent last year. So I think that was a very underrated move. But I always loved Shaquille, and I remember when we drafted Shaquem, that was such an awesome moment. Um, and I'm one play that another of my favorite plays of all time is in that Packers game, Shaquille and Shaquem combining for a sack that on third down that if our offense could have done anything would have potentially been, a game like, the cause for the game, for us winning the game. Um, and that was an amazing play. But yeah, definitely favorite play, Jermaine Kearse game winner, as well as that. And then least favorite play would be Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say for that.
I know. I actually, even though I complain a lot about Shaquille, I love Shaquem. I love the story, and also, even though I remember we started him at his rookie year, like in like Broncos game, and he wasn't that good in coverage, or something happened. I forget. I
Yeah,
loved him off the edge. I remember like some when Eagles game, he was like returning a fumble. I
I
don't know.
went to that game.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you
That
say?
was exciting. I went to that Eagles game. I went to both Eagles
Oh,
games last year,
that's sick.
actually. And I remember when that play happened. That was awesome. And actually, yeah, and he had his first career regular season sack against the Jets this year.
Yeah.
It's actually, for an East Coast person, I was very disappointed because the New York Giants and Jets stadium is closer to me, is like much closer to me than the Eagle Stadium. And I saw when I was looking at the schedule for this year, I was like, oh, we're playing the Jets and Giants. Awesome. One of them's got to be, here where I am, and both of them were in Seattle, which was unfortunate. But yeah, but I remember that Eagles game where Shaquem made that play. That was really fun.
Also, I want to get into the draft real quick, but just about that Eagles game you went to, and also the Packers game, Malik Turner, because Malik Turner caught a flea flicker in that Eagles game, and then
Oh,
Malik Turner ended our season in that Packers game.
I will never forgive him for that. I thought he had promise because he was kind of developing. He was like a wide receiver for that season. He looked okay, but oh my God, right in the chest.
I know.
Uh,
All right, change the topic. I don't want to talk about Malik anymore. I'll do draft questions now. We can do these quicker if you want. What would you say is our biggest position of need? Corner, center, receiver, maybe even linebacker if KJ leaves. What do you think it is?
well, well, I think it's between well, because of our scheme, our tight end heavy scheme with Shane Waldron. I don't think it's wide receiver, although it's definitely a big need. I think it's probably like the more immediate need might be center because again with the scheme that Shane Waldron has, you need a mauling run blocking center that can set the tone, and that is definitely the opposite of Ethan Posick. He's a pass blocker first. maybe even a lead blocker second and a run blocker third. He is horrific in run in the run game. So I'm pretty terrified for that this season. John Schneider actually he raved a little bit about how happy he was that we got Ethan back in the press conference today.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree if it was our scheme from last year because he fit the scheme pretty well, but he's the opposite of a scheme fit in Waldron's scheme. So center's a pretty big need. I'm more scared of the effect that a bad cornerback group could have on us because obviously I mean that Bills game was pretty traumatizing last year when they basically the first half I think they got like 10 yards every play basically, and that was horrific. Obviously, Dunbar was playing on a basically broken knee somehow, and we had who else was DJ Reed on the other side, or was
I think it
that
was DJ Reed's first game. Yeah.
yeah? Well, that was his first game. That was his first game outside.
Yeah.
I think,
That's what.
but I mean, he wasn't even terrible that game. Dunbar just gave up so many bad plays, and even Diggs and that was Jamal's first game back after like missing 4 games. That was just an ugly game. But that my point is the effect a bad cornerback group could have on you is pretty devastating. We signed the reason I don't know if we'll draft corner first is just because we signed so many guys in free agency to compete. So obviously I think DJ Reed's probably the most proven guy. But then you have Trey Flowers, you have Akella Witherspoon, who I think Seattle paid him a pretty penny, 4 million guaranteed. So I think that's probably who they want to start. But they also have Trey Flowers. They signed Demarius Randall, who was a safety last year, and moved him back to outside corner to compete there. Then they signed Pierre Desir, and I think that's it. I could be missing someone, but yeah, yeah. Trey Flowers, Pierre Desir, Demarius Randall, and Akella Witherspoon all competing for that right cornerback spot. I definitely think we will draft a corner at some point, but I think center is probably the bigger immediate need just because of we have decent depth at corner, although it's thin in terms of quality. But I'd say center first, but corner is very close. And then I don't think linebacker is that. I mean, I do think it's a need, obviously, but again, I think we're going to be playing more nickel. If we don't have KJ, I think we'll be playing a lot of nickel. And, again, with as many corners and safeties as we have, we'll get Blair in there, Ugo in there, even some Ryan Neal on some packages. So I think, like, let's just say Cody Barton is the Sam linebacker this year. He might play instead of like 45% of plays, like our Sam linebacker usually plays. He might play like 30, which is still a lot of plays, but again, I don't think it's as big a deal as some people are making out to be. But if we get KJ back, I think that's a pretty big deal because he would play much more snaps.
Yeah, I'd like to have KJ back, but I've been telling people that I'm more than confident with Bobby Brooks Blair in the middle. But yeah, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Actually, you kind of said it. I think I know the answer. I was gonna say who's your number one draft crush for the first pick, and I think you're gonna say Quinn Miners. And am I correct with that?
I love Quinn Miners. He is exactly what I mean. He's the thing about him is that he's from a Division III school, Wisconsin Whitewater, and Seattle. I think I actually read that they've only drafted 2 players in the past like 10 years that haven't been D1 or something like that. So I'm not sure how likely the pick is, but he fits our scheme. He is a mauler. He's dominant. He engulfs people into his blocks. I mean, his problem is he loves to lunge and he's a little antsy. But if he can fix that, I think he could be a really like a. I mean, I don't know if it'd be ideally day one starter, but if he needed to, he could be a center.
And while that might be the correct pick, I always assume that the Seahawks will not do that and surprise us. And someone I think that could be picked, and I'm really biased because I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, is Brevin Jordan because you covered it a little the other day, but I've been thinking this for a while. Shane Waldron loves 2 tight ends. I watched Brevin Jordan a lot last year. He plays a lot in the slot, so that would kind of cover the whole wide receiver 3 debate. If everyone's worried about that, like a third like versatile weapon. He's no Kyle Pitts though, and I don't know. It would just be a shocker, and I could kind of see it. What do you think about Brevin Jordan?
Yeah, I remember when I started because I'm a draft guy. The draft is my favorite time of the year. So I started my preparations to the draft back in like February, and he was one of the first prospects I looked at because I thought tight end was a big need. And I love Brevin Jordan. I think he's probably my number three tight end in the class. He's fast. He can make the vertical plays that are and the roll out plays that our system can do. And I think well, when we signed Everett, I was like, oh well, that's out the window. We're not going to draft another 10 end, especially with Disley here. But man, yeah, as you said, he would be a de facto wide receiver three. He would play a lot in the slot. He would I think him and Everett would just have they would wreak havoc. That would just be a lot of fun because that's two athletic, really. I think actually that's probably Brevin Jordan's best trait, athleticism. But two athletic guys who can run, who can catch, and basically just make Russ have a good day. And I think that would again, as you said, it's not like the expected thing, but that could be a nice like surprise thing that Seattle could do to fill that role, and I think it would work out pretty nicely.
Thank you. I totally agree with all of that. And I guess that's my final prediction for our second round pick, unless we trade back and some weird stuff happens, uh, which probably will happen. But if we find a team, that's a whole big deal. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. And also, Disley and Everett are both on 1 year deals, so
Yeah, that's a good
it'll
point.
make sense. Anyways, I think it'd be good because he's athletic, and we usually don't have athletic tight ends. But I actually have to wrap things up now. But I would love to talk to you more. Hopefully, after the draft, we can talk maybe, hopefully, with good reactions. But, anyways, thank you so much for joining us today, Kingdom.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
All right. Thank you guys for listening or watching. Say bye to Kingdom. Have a nice day.
Go Hawks.